All right, hello everyone. My name is Robert Peters, and I'll be presenting the school climate and improvement process of Columbus High School. According to Tableman, the school climate is the basic feel of a school. It's the quality and character of school life. It involves everything from the building itself to the students, parents, and all the support personnel involved. It can be encompassed by the support that all of these stakeholders have and also give the engagement of everyone as we try to improve this area and promote learning and also modeling, as we as teachers try to model to the students that lifelong education is a worthwhile endeavor. The school improvement process, though, is one that is going to involve assessment of the school climate. All right, now that assessment is going to show us areas of need, but it's also going to show us areas of strength that we need to work to maintain in an endless cyclical process of incremental changes over the course of a set period of time. The school climate survey that we used was generated by Brian Perkins, called the American School Climate Teacher Version. Consisted of 25 questions designed to collect information and views from teachers and also staff members. Now, this survey, although it is rather broad, it's pretty limited as far as its scope, and it focuses mainly on the school learning climate, bullying, and also the attitudes of professional development among the faculty members. Now, some general information about Columbus High School. It is currently ranked number 3 in Georgia, number 101 in national rankings. The faculty consists of 75 members with 31 males and 44 females, and the student body consists of 1,209 students. Now, the demographics are going to be rather important because we'll see how this is going to be impactful in regards to the high expectations that the faculty have of students. So you can see that as far as our proficiency scores go in math and reading, we are well above the district and state. So the rigor involved at Columbus High School is very high and also indicative of the expectations that the staff have of these students. As far as the student body goes, we're a 45% minority at Columbus High School. The methodology used to conduct this survey consisted of distributing multiple surveys to the staff members. At the conclusion, I did receive 11 return samples, 2 from Black females, 2 from Black males, 1 from a multiracial male, 3 white females, and 3 white males, where English was the predominant language out of all 11. On average, we saw 17 years of experience with 3 bachelors, 7 masters, and 1 PhD. Now, to quantify the scores of this survey, which consisted of terms simply as strongly disagree all the way up to strongly agree, had to assign a number value to it. So strongly disagree was quantified at 1, disagree 2, not sure at 3, agree at 4, and strongly agree was at 5. And after that, and I was able to establish means and actually quantify the data. Anything that came in at 1, 2, or 3, I considered an area of concern. Also, I used a factor analysis to streamline all 25 of these questions. With factor analysis, I grouped all of them according to specific variables. And in this case, the variables were the 7 correlates of effective schools. The first correlate that we see is instructional leadership, where in the first generation, it said that the principal is the leader. But we see in the second generation of the correlates, it's taken on a broadened concept of leadership, where we are now delegating authority to build ownership within an organization. Only one question matched this criteria within the survey, and that was question number 8, asking if staff members thought administrators trusted their professional judgment. We saw that the score came out at a mean of 4.55 and agree. So this showed that the teachers felt that the administration employed a democratic style that was built on trust and believing that the staff was capable of making worthwhile decisions. The second correlate was clear and focused mission. Now, in the first generation, we see that a clear mission was one that everyone should have been able to understand and therefore follow. But we see in the second generation that the mission has shifted towards a balance of higher level performance and then also prerequisites that are responsible and evident in mastery. And to accomplish that, we see that the curriculum demands and accountability need to be modified. There are some cases where students may not show mastery initially, but with the clear and focused mission, we can modify certain tasks so that children all have the opportunity to show mastery. Now, within this, we saw 6 questions from the survey and only one area of concern, and that involved continuing education among staff members. Question number 2 asked if teachers were currently pursuing in-service opportunities. We saw that the mean came out at 3.73, which indicated they were not sure overall. But looking at the scores, we see that the mean may not be entirely indicative of this score, because we see that 2 low-end scores are going to skew this distribution. We have a 1 and a 2. But in this case, if we look and we determine the mode, we see that the mode came out to agree. So the clear and focused mission of pursuing in-service opportunities actually does come out to a 4. With a safe and orderly environment, initially it was built on stopping undesirable behavior, but as it's evolved, we see that now the safe and orderly environment is to make a school a purposeful environment and an emphasis on desirable behaviors. It's become more of a reinforcement model as opposed to a punishment model. We see that also now we are trying to build collaboration not only with teachers, but also with students, and in teaching them that working together with respect for diversity and democratic values is going to be essential as we continue on the road to learning for all. Now, this was the emphasis of the survey, where we see 11 questions. In regards to the physical environment, the behavior of the students, and the safety of the school, we do see that there were no areas of concern, but we did see one area of concern in regards to racial barriers. Number 25 asked if racial barriers to education and economic opportunity no longer exist. 1.72 was the mean, which came out to strongly disagree. All right, this was an excellent assumption, as we see that the staff members recognize that an emphasis on multicultural education is an important component in the educational system, and that we do need to make the shift from equality to equity so that all students have the capability and opportunities to learn without punishment. Because this truly shows that learning for all can be accomplished with the shift, again, from equality to equity. The climate of high expectations initially was one where staff believed that every student can attain mastery. Right? But now we see that this has taken on a broadened scope. Not only does it look for students attaining mastery, but also it expands to teachers and the entire institution of education. Now we see the shift of institutions being designed to assure learning as opposed to assuring teaching. 5 questions were generated from this correlate, but out of all those 5, there were no concerns. And that could be due to the fact of the rigor demands of Columbus High School are so high that the faculty does feel that they do have high expectations for their students. With frequently monitoring of student progress, we see that students should progressively and constantly be monitored to improve their performance. And also the instructional methods used that were successful versus ones that were not successful. Now we see in the second generation the implementation of technology where students can get immediate feedback, and the self-monitoring of students as they receive that instant feedback on assignments. Now, unfortunately, there were no questions in the survey that addressed this component. In positive homeschool relations, in the first generation, we saw that parental understanding and support of the school mission was the emphasis of a positive homeschool relation. But eventually we start to see now that there's an opportunity to play a role in the helping of schools achieved by everyone involved. All right, now we want to see the shift from partners um, amongst the parents and the relationship that they have with staff members. We want this to become an authentic partnership between the school and the home, because it all comes down to building relationships that are built on trust and accomplishment. Two questions were generated from this. Strong parental involvement and support was not an issue, but one area of concern was the meeting of parents. Number 24 asked if staff members have met most of their parents or caretakers. Average score was 2.36, which showed that a majority disagreed. But unfortunately, this goes to show that the positive homeschool relationship involves more than just support. It involves more than just the PTA, and it should be built on trust and communication. And the opportunity to learn and student task on time, we see that the focus of this correlate is simply just time. The allocation of significant classroom time for instruction is the backbone of this. But in the second generation, we see that time is still recognized as being important, but as education is involved and we are now requiring students to know more within a shorter time span, we need to streamline the curriculum, all right, with a possible restructuring of compulsory school if necessary. But unfortunately, again, with this correlate, there were no questions involved. As far as the overall impact on school improvement, you do see that Columbus High does have a positive school environment. All of the correlates that were monitored did come out at being over 4, except for the positive homeschool relation, which came in at 3.45. But this shows us that there is still room for improvement. Homeschool relations may need to make the change at the school setting, as opposed to building relationships with parents in the traditional parent conference, maybe open houses. Maybe it could now transfer into a more non-traditional avenue where a less formal opportunity may help build these relationships with parents and the community. Racial barriers to education and economic opportunity are also areas where we can still grow, but this may involve a larger scale change where it involves the institution of education itself. If you would like some resources, I have a Wakelet built on school climate and improvement. If you would take a picture of the QR code, it will take you to my Wakelet, which you can see on the right. All of those links are active, and this is a constantly evolving source where I will be adding more and more information constantly. So please feel free to access that if you would like some more information on school climate and improvement. In my final remarks, I'd like to say that a positive school climate is built on two main factors, and that's engagement of all the stakeholders, and then also the support that all of those stakeholders can give and the support that they can also receive. We do see that throughout this process, there are always going to be rooms to improvement, where we can see that methods need to be used to identify areas of weakness, but also to maintain satisfactory scores. But again, please realize that this is an endless cycle of adjustments that will be continuous after more data is assessed, because the overall goal of this is going to be learning for all. And there are my references. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, thank you for your time.